firestorm erupting between Washington and the Indian IT giant Tata Consultancy Services. Two powerful US senators, Chuck Grassley and Dick Durbin, have publicly accused TCS of engaging in troubling employment trends, specifically alleging the company is laying off thousands of American workers while simultaneously aggressively seeking thousands of H1-B visas for foreign staff. In a sharply worded letter, the senators pointed out the staggering contrast, which is TCS recently announced global layoffs exceeding 12,000 employees, including Americans, yet secured approval to hire over 5,500 new H1B beneficiaries in the US in fiscal year 2025. The lawmakers questioned why American talent is being relegated to the sidelines when US tech unemployment is already high. They also highlighted that this scrutiny comes as TCS is under an ongoing Equal Employment Opportunity Commission investigation for allegedly favoring younger South Asian H1B workers over older American staff. The senators have demanded a detailed explanation and supporting data from the TCS CEO by the 10th of October, putting the company's US immigration practices directly under the congressional microscope. Now, to help us understand this from various different perspectives and angles, I have with me Neeti Sharma, the CEO of TeamLease Digital. Welcome to this conversation, Neeti. Thank you so much for giving us your time. Let's begin with asking this. From a pure talent strategy standpoint, why would a company endure the public relations risk of massive layoffs while simultaneously ramping up H1B hiring, according to you?
Yeah, thanks, Malika, for having me here. Interesting question, and I think what's happening with the whole H1B visa, policies that the US Senate is now talking about, I guess it's obviously impacting a large part of the IT services companies. But specific to TCS and maybe other large IT services companies as well, let's understand why is it that someone would look at a younger talent, maybe from whichever country probably, and why not a lateral talent or somebody who's had probably 10, 15 years of experience? I guess there are two parts to it. One is what is the skill and the agility this resource is bringing to the company. And the second is at what cost is it? If I just give you a comparison, a senior software developer with about 10 years of experience in India gets paid about $50,000 to $70,000 annually. The same person being sent to the US with an H1B visa gets paid anywhere between $100,000 to $120,000. But a same skill set, same talent hired in the US directly gets paid anywhere between $150,000 to $200,000. Now look at the stark difference in the salary ranges that are getting paid for similar skill sets. So as an organization, not just TCS, but everybody would start looking at what is it that I'm getting in return of the amount that I'm going to pay to any employee. And I'm not saying that, you need to be harsh, you need to lay off people. But I guess organizations are at that stage that, there's so much of disruption happening in technology, AI, agentic AI, Gen AI, and, there's deep tech, there's so many other, technologies, and it's changing much more rapidly than it's ever happened earlier, in our lifetimes. What works best for them at that point of time is what the conversation and the decision the company will have to take. Will they lay off, like you mentioned in your opening conversation, will they lay off senior American employees and take junior Asian employees? Well, my sense is that all the layoffs that we've seen over the last 6 months in India and outside across these services companies have mostly been mid management layoffs. And why is that? So it's not just the US or the American mid management workers, but I guess it's a global phenomena, mostly because of the talent and the skills they bring to the table, the agility they are able to probably bring at that point of time, and agility in skill sets, relocation, different project deployment. So there's a various, I think multiple parameters and a combination on why an organization like TCS would probably even get to this point. It's at certain points it just becomes unviable to work on conventional stack projects, and maybe which is why TCS has taken that decision.
Interesting point put forth, Ms. Sharma. That brings me to the next question. According to you, then, is the H1B visa primarily being used to secure genuinely specialized skills, or is it fundamentally a cost arbitrage strategy for large IT services companies such as TCS?
I guess it's a combination of both. Obviously we've had thousands and thousands of H1B visa employees working in the US even now. A large part of that, interestingly, is hired directly by American companies. So it's not just about the Indian IT services companies that are bringing in H1B visa employees to the US. The large companies like Amazon, Google, Meta, all of them are hiring very high volumes. So it is not just about cost, it's about the talent and the skills and the volume of talent that we can provide to the US and to other geographies as against probably other countries. And which is where the disparity is seen, where 70% of H1B visas given to Indian IT employees, mostly because of the volume and the value that we bring to the table. Cost is definitely a point of discussion that anyone would not leave behind. But a balance, and how do I get ROI on the investments I make, is what is on top of everyone's mind right now.
So, as you said, volume and value are of prime importance, and you also highlighted how, while the cost-effective factor might be a major parameter behind taking this decision, but volume and value of the employee, and as you said, the return on investment is extremely important as well. Then, how does the current high unemployment rate in the US tech sector especially impact a company's ability to legally justify using the specialized skill clause of the H1B program?
Yeah, so I guess if the company is able to bring in local American talent, especially the STEM graduates, and there are many STEM graduates and smart STEM graduates in the US as well, if they are able to hire them at a certain rate, and they bring in certain what do I call value and experience, if they get the talent, I guess. And TCS, for one, has definitely been hiring many American workers locally. It's not like they're only deploying Asian or Southeast Asian employees, over the last many years, actually. But if they get the talent at the rate that they would probably like to bring in, I guess that's when TCS and any other IT services company will look at taking in local Americans. It'll be unfair to say, look, I have unemployment, so even if you pay, do take the employees. I guess they will take to a certain percentage, but it'll not close all positions. They'll probably be able to close maybe 15, 20, 30% of the open positions, but the rest will have to come in from other geographies. Like I said, for skills, for the talent they bring in, and obviously at the cost that they come in.
Because, Ms. Sharma, we are also having this conversation because there is an imbalance, right? It's not about either or, but it is about how skewed these mass hirings have been, especially when it comes to the H1B hiring. And then I would like to ask you, can this perceived conflict, layoffs just opposed with mass visa hiring, damage a company's long-term ability to recruit and retain top American talent? Because they are currently unsatisfied with how the current hiring process looks like at the moment.
Yeah, I think it will probably, what do I call it? Disrupt the brand value, right? But when you talk about STEM graduates, what is it that they look for when they're coming, taking a job? They're looking for the kind of projects they get, the technology platforms that they get to work on, the kind of innovation that they're able to do, the kind of impact they're able to make for their end customers. I guess TCS has been one of the very large IT services providers across the globe, and they can actually bring a very high value for any employee they hire. In my view, I guess over a period of time, the STEM graduates will see the value that the company brings to the table, as against, I think, this momentarily disruption, if I may call it that way. But I don't think it'll be a long term problem for the company, because the company is able to give the exposure, the value, and the balance to the employees. I don't see it as a very big problem over a period of time.
Okay, okay. But that 12,000 number is a big number, and the senators have questioned the use of level 1 wages for H1B hires. Now, what does this low wage tier suggest about the roles being filled versus the claimed high specialty of the visa program, according to you?
So, Malika, I think this is what is happening across the country. It's not just about across the world, actually. It's not just about the American workers. Even in India, the layoffs that have happened, like I called out a little while earlier, are the mid management layers, and the ones that are getting hired are probably junior for workforce which have different technology stacks. Probably they're more agile to learn on the AI ML platforms. They are building AI agents. Their global mobility is a lot higher than than probably what a mid manager mobility will be. So I think there's a combination of multiple factors here. I wouldn't call out again saying it's specifically and the American workers are getting singled out. I guess that's the phenomena that's happening across all IT services companies, because the pyramid model that worked for this sector for a fairly long time. We had hundreds and thousands of employees at the bottom of the pyramid. We had people managers to manage that pyramid, and then another layer of managers managing the second level of people managers. I guess the people managers are getting impacted right now, and the pyramid structure is moving very gradually on to becoming a cylindrical structure. So this will change the future and the way the org structures will look across all IT services companies, and which is why all of us are seeing the impact. I call this out again and again because I see this happening in India as well. That it's not just American workers being laid out, but I guess that's the organization strategy to figure out what will be the next what do I call next decade org structure as against what they've traditionally been working on. The pyramid structure is clearly not working for any of the IT services companies now, and all of them are moving to a very different structure. Some of them will obviously have AI agents in as part of the org structure. Many of them will bring in people with 4 to 5, 8 years of experience, and the mid-level layer, managers who've largely been people managers are getting impacted right now. Uh, till organizations figure out upskilling, reskilling, redeployment of this workforce, the impact is going to be there. And I guess which is why even the American employees in TCS are feeling the pain.
Okay. So, Ms. Sharma, let me know if I'm understanding this right? For quite some time, Indian IT has been under a bit of pain. They have not been performing that well. Their guidance also has been in lower single-digit numbers. Plus, the fact that you mentioned a very important point. Many of these IT services companies are undergoing an important era where generative AI is coming into space, is questioning the use of human resource. There is a requirement to upskill. There's a requirement to match with the current demands of what is needed in the current ecosystem. There's a lot of changes that's happening. And amidst all of this, there is this layoff controversy, especially with regards to TCS. You were talking about the difference, or rather the change from the pyramid style to the cylindrical style. Can you explain what the cylindrical style of hiring is and how this could be more relevant and useful in the age of AI for IT services companies?
Yeah, sure. So look at what are the kind of roles that are getting hired right now. There's a lot of requirement for skill sets in cybersecurity, cloud, data, AI, ML coding, right? As against conventional, entry level software development roles. So the old technology stacks will probably start getting dated and moving out from every project. AI and agentic AI is getting integrated in workflows initially for efficiency and eventually for productivity, and also replacing some of the redundant or data kind of roles that are getting done. So the cylindrical structure as we see right now, Malika, is that the fact that there's a lot of people who will get hired for different skill sets. So like COEs for security, COEs for cloud, COEs for AI, where you'll not need too many people to manage these layers. So it'll start becoming more like a flattish structure rather than saying I have volume of people who are only doing software coding at the bottom, and then I will have tens and thousands of people managing that volume, and then another 10 people to manage this tens and thousands of people. So I think the whole cylindrical structure will be specialized skills, experience, domain combination, which is really going to be the future of any organization. I need to obviously integrate AI and agentic AI, bring in more what do I call agents as part of my organization structure. So we will need people to manage the AI agents as well as human agents, which is why it's going to look more cylindrical and not a pyramid anymore, Malika.
All right, all right. It would be interesting to see how this changes to the cylindrical structure of hiring. And as very beautifully and rightly pointed out by you, we're at the cusp of a transformation. And therefore, a lot of questions are warranted at this given point in time. But thank you so much for helping us make sense of all of this and giving us your time at NDTV Profit.
Pleasure. Thank you, Malika.